Welcome to Take Me With You, episode 22. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Cheryl. We are two well-traveled people who want to go everywhere.
But that's not going to happen. So instead, we'll travel vicariously by inviting a guest to share their unique travel stories with us.
Today we're talking to Jamie. What? Jamie is a pediatric dental hygienist. Assistant.
Wait, is there a difference?
There is.
Oh, what's the difference?
So as a hygienist, you go to school for longer, and you could go subgingival, meaning you can go below the gums. You can give the anesthetic, and you can also fill teeth. So the dentist will go in and clean out the cavity.
So what does the dentist actually do then?
The dentist does nothing.
Okay,
the
that's what I
assistants
thought.
pretty much do all of it.
Okay, that's been my experience. But,
yeah, they
okay.
wave at you, and they're like, "Oh, there's still teeth in there."
Yeah, right. And the dentist can diagnose. So I legally can't
sure.
diagnose an X-ray. But I can look on the X-ray and I already know if there's a cavity or not.
Sure, but you can't say it.
No, I legally can't say it. So you
right.
know when parents will ask you, does my child have cavities? I always say, that's a really good question. We'll ask the doctor that when she comes. But yes, I'm an assistant.
Okay, great.
Yay! And Jamie's one of my longest and goodest friends.
Goodest is not a word.
We decided today. We didn't decide.
We mathed today.
We mathed today that it's been 16 and a half years since we met each other.
Wow.
So our friendship can drive their friends.
Can they though? Because with the graduated license.
Wait, I thought it was 6 months.
Yeah, it was 6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
Isn't it longer?
Yeah.
I
don't
know anymore.
Last time I
in
checked,
Washington State, we don't know other.
we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you're in Europe, you can't drive until you're 18 in most European countries. Like, driver's license at all. But they also have, a way more intense, driver's ed program.
Number system, too?
That I don't know. And it probably varies from country to country, so.
We learned that a little bit on Sarah Williams' episode of this podcast.
Oh.
Ooh. Cross promotion? No.
Callback.
In-house promotion. So, Jamie, you like to travel. Welcome to Take Me With You. It's great so far. We're very happy to have you here today.
I'm excited.
Oh, man. So good.
Yeah.
So there are a few questions that we like to ask all of our guests.
Okay, hit me with it. Let's do it.
So first of all, why do you travel?
I love to see the world and explore. And I love to learn about cultures, and I especially love to eat new food.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you're friends with Cheryl.
And my husband's a chef.
Oh, really? Like a professional chef?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So I'd never cook at home.
Well, so that's the question that I've always wondered. If that is your profession, obviously it's not your profession, but his profession, right?
Yeah.
Does he want to continue to cook when he gets home?
No,
Okay.
I legit just can't cook to save my life.
Oh, okay.
I've almost burnt down the kitchen at our house probably twice.
So he cooks not because he wants to, but for the preservation of your family. Okay.
For more than one reason.
Because if I had it my way, it'd be like spaghetti and takeout almost every
Jamie
night.
had a hard time making pina coladas from pina colada mix.
Okay.
One time, just with here's a.
I
blender,
remember when we baked the cookies, and I can't remember what I did wrong, but remember they were flat on the pan.
Yeah,
they were all meshed together.
There's a struggle. There's a real struggle.
Hashtag struggles real.
So she just surrounds herself with people who like to cook, and she likes.
And I like to eat.
There you go. It's a great match. Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah. So, what type of traveler are you, Jamie?
Ooh. I'm an excited traveler.
Okay. What does that look like?
I can't stop talking about an upcoming trip. I talk about it forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And then I'm also a pre-planner. I have to have things planned out. So I'm not super planned, but I like to have points of interest where I want to go. So if I'm we're gonna go here, I want to go to this place and this place and this place, and have it on my list of things to do, kind of thing. Goals. I want to have goals on my trip, but I also like to be spontaneous and just drive around and get lost too, because I think some of the best places that you find are off the beaten trail and not touristy.
Yeah.
So I like to also just get lost, but not too lost because I need to find my way back.
So how do you balance the appropriate amount of lost?
Google Maps always helps when I get really lost, and then I try and put in a landmark or, okay, I was here and then get back and, figure it out. But I also don't drive on our trips when I go places lately because my husband says I'm a terrible driver and he is super like control freak that way. So he always drives.
Is he correct?
I don't think I'm that bad, but I do have some moments where you're like,
She's not a terrible driver and you're not unsafe. I think it's more like the assuredness with directions than anything else. That I've noticed,
I can't. Yeah. I get dyslexic with my left and my right, so instead I point.
Okay.
So I'll say go right, but I'll be pointing to the left, but I really mean go left.
Okay. So the direction you point is the direction you intend.
Totally.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
So when you're planning for travel, what do you use to like figure out what you want to do? Like, what does that process look like for you?
Like when we have our destination in mind, I start to like Google things or like start to research, like especially, and now it's changed so much with having a kid. So I always try and balance like kid friendly activities to also like things that my husband and I want to do. So I try and kind of make it balanced so it's fun for it's fun for all of us. But I definitely Google and like kind of research like things in the area to do or like big things. Like when we went, like I've seen the Liberty Bell. I totally forgot what that was.
It's okay. Don't ask me where it is. It's over on the other side of the country somewhere.
It's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, there.
Yeah. So like I wanted to see the Liberty Bell, and so just kind of looked at things that were around it of like fun things to do too. For like, there's a park right there where the Liberty Bell is. So I let Scarlett out of the stroller, and she ran around and played. So try and find places where like she can go play or run around, and like museums are always good, but like like the children's museums where she can like get in. So I don't know, it's different. I do lots of Google and internet reading.
And when you Google, do you just take whatever shows up, or are there certain sites that you find yourself going to more often or more frequently? I
like TripAdvisor and like Kayak and like those kind of places. I also really like reading blogs.
Okay.
Because like, people who have been there and blog their experiences. Like when we were preparing for Disneyland, I had never been to Disneyland with a kid.
Right.
So I didn't know like I wanted tips and tricks with a kid. So I definitely read, like, the Disneyland mom blogs of, like, bring this, don't do this, do this. So that also helps me get prepared. So I am one of those moms who reads, like, those mom traveling blogs because it helps me. But I've also gotten better over the years of, like, this worked, this didn't work.
Yeah.
This was a bad idea, this was a great idea.
Yeah.
So it's also learning as you go, too.
Sure. So what would you say is your number one travel tip?
Always prepare for the worst. In the sense that I always overpack. I am like the perpetual overpacker.
Okay.
Because I always come up with like scenarios like in my head, What if Disneyland floods? You need your galoshes. Ugh. Hunter boots, duh. Spoken like a true Northwesterner. I mean, and also, so, like, you bring, like, your I was trying, like, okay, this is so stupid because you're totally going to make fun of me, but it's, like, that quote in Miss Congeniality, which is, like, April 20th, because all you need is a light jacket, so, like, you always want to bring, like, the sweatshirt for, and then, like, layer it so you have something underneath so you can take your sweatshirt off, but then you also want to make sure, too, that you have a jacket in case it gets warm, so I'm also have, like, that stupid mom bag with, like, tons of extras in there. So, I mean, I always try and prepare for everything and think about, like, in the morning it's going to be really warm, but at nighttime it's going to be cold. And so, yeah. And also, too, I think just go with the flow. Like, if something doesn't go as planned, just go with the flow because it can turn into a great story.
Yeah.
I think some of the best stories happen when, like, you're least expecting something to happen.
I love it. Very fun.
Yes.
You and I are different packers.
Yes. Have you not seen my packing?
I mean, you and I haven't traveled much together, but I'm not surprised that you pack a lot. Like, that fits you. But
so you've always been that way, even before you had a kid?
Yes. Well, yes. So growing up, my mom packed me. My mom would do a lot of the packing for the family. And then when I started traveling on my own, I would always overpack. So like a week to Central Oregon at my parents' house, I packed like half my room.
Oh, okay.
You know.
So you just move places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't travel. You're just moving.
Moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like that weight limit that you have for the bags, and then you go over and you have to pay like the extra fee. Yeah, that's me. That's why like my husband hates when I pack.
So you just plan and budget for the overage fee. Is that what you're telling me?
I do. My husband doesn't. He gets mad. So he usually goes through my bag before we leave and takes things out.
Do you have one of the luggage scales at home to pre-weigh it?
We have a scale at home. It's got lots of dust on it.
Do you know the luggage scales?
No.
Tell her about the luggage scales.
So, there's a thing called a luggage scale?
Yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
They look a little bit different, but usually it's just like a piece of plastic of some kind, and then so you hold it, and then it hangs down and has a little clip or a hook or something.
Oh, yeah.
And so you pick up your bag, and then it reads the weight that way. So instead of like, I mean, you can also do if you have like a bathroom scale, and like you know how much you weigh, and then you grab the bag, and then you get that, and you just do some subtraction, and then you can figure out the weight of your bag.
Oh, that sounds way too much work for me to do.
Exactly. So you get the luggage scale, which again they're not very expensive, and you just pick it up, and then you can usually move it from pounds to kilograms if you want to. So depending on which airline you're flying or wherever you're going, you can look at it in the right.
So gonna have to do that.
And depending on where you fly to, there are a lot more airlines are also adding weight restrictions on carry-ons as well. Yeah. And so you can you can use it for any. I mean, there'll be some sort of maximum weight. Obviously, you're not going to measure an elephant with it, but you know.
But you're also not going to travel with an elephant, so that's
fine.
I
hope not.
Oh my God,
I hope
do you know
not.
what I also found out? Do you know also what I found too, though?
What?
So this is a good travel tip too. We don't check our bags in. We take our bags as a carry-on. And if you go to your gate, they usually will make a call that says, you know, our flight is overbooked. Does anybody want to check in your bags for free?
But they have to be small enough in order for that to work.
I've been able to check in some of my, like, duffel bags.
No, but I mean, like, it has to be small enough to count as a carry-on for you to get that far in the first place.
But I can even get some of, like, my duffel bags through. I've gotten, like, one particular one through. and it works. So that's what we do too. That's how I get through.
Yeah,
and
you gate check it.
Yeah, it's so smart.
I mean, pretty much the airlines just like created an awful predicament for themselves because they don't like how many passengers bring carry-ons.
Then and don't charge us for it.
Yep,
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
$25 to like $40 for like one bag, and then if you have like 6 people in your family, that's expensive.
I will say I did have. I think this was a few years ago now. And I was flying on Air Canada, which I've only ever done once. And I was at the gate, and I try to not check as often as I can. I was going to help for an English camp, so I had a whole bunch of like team camp stuff, so I had to have a bag that I checked. But then I had my other 2 bags that I planned to just carry, and then I wouldn't worry. And then once I got there, I could leave that, and I could just go, you know, carry on for the way home. And she looked, and she was like, would you want to check that other bag too? And I was like, no, it's totally fine. Like, I don't need to. She's like, they're probably going to be looking for people to gate check at the gate anyway. I won't charge you for it. I'll just check it right now.
Whoa.
And I was like,
good job, Air Canada.
Okay. Because she's like, again, she kind of got it. She understood that we're going to be asking people to do that anyway. Yeah. It's already small. I won't charge you for it because they're not going to charge you for it when you do it there. And that saves us time later on.
So
I was like,
smart.
Sure. Great. If I have to check one anyway, sure. You can take this one too.
I've taken 3 trips in the last 3 months, and every flight I've gotten on, they're like, dear God, please somebody gate check a bag. And so I was on one with Daryl where we had like a layover, and so we just gate checked it at the start, and they were like, yeah, you don't have to pick this up until like your final destination. And we were in the Seattle airport for like 3 or 4 hours, just didn't have our bags. And I was like, this is normally I hate checking bags for so many reasons, but I was like, this is a nice moment to not have to deal with it.
Well, and I get, because there's 2 kinds of gate check. There's the gate check where it ends up going like a checked bag, where you have to go to baggage claim later to pick it up. But there's also, I've had also gate check where it's gate checked and then it's back at when you get off the plane.
Yeah.
I've never
And
had that
that's
happen
my
to me.
Yeah.
that one. I'm like, I'll do that in a heartbeat, no
Yes.
question
Never had
asked.
that. I've
Yeah.
never done
Yeah,
that.
I've had both recently. So
Okay.
Yeah. So both are still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
So
only time I had that was when I had to check in Scarlett's stroller when she was littler.
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
That was it. Other than that, though, we've always had to go to baggage claim if we've done the gate check. So.
Yeah.
So Jamie, what travel story are you going to be telling us about tonight?
I'm going to be talking about 2 years ago. I went on a baseball trip.
What is a baseball trip?
baseball trip.
Baseball. So
Cheryl, it's okay.
I know Cheryl's like, ugh, sports.
Do I have to go?
No, you
On
don't.
the trip?
This is called Take Me With You.
Yep.
I mean, you can like kind of go with me because there were some fun food adventures that we did go on. There was some footage involved. So we 2 years. So I grew up with Seattle Mariners.
Yep.
And so love the Mariners. Grew up in like being around and going to games, and that's what I spent a lot of my childhood. So my favorite baseball player is Ken Griffey Jr.
Of course.
Duh.
Obviously.
The greatest.
He's probably my favorite too.
You don't even know who he is.
No, I know who he is.
Oh,
You should
okay.
know.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just the way you said it.
Yeah.
Look on your face. I was like,
No, because he's the one I've heard of. So.
Oh, okay.
Did
Fair
you know
enough.
that there was a Ken Griffey Sr.? His dad, who was also a baseball player
Okay, I
on
was
the
gonna
Mariners.
say,
No.
like,
Oh yeah, and he won the World Series with the Cincinnati Reds. His dad did.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I didn't
Just
know
randomly.
that he played. I mean, I assumed there was a Ken Griffey Sr. I didn't know he played baseball.
Yeah, he
So
did.
your dad worked for the Mariners?
He did.
And
yes.
your dad worked for the Mariners.
Correct.
What did your dad? do
Both
for
of
the
your
Mariners?
dads worked for the
What
Mariners.
did your dad do for the Mariners?
My dad worked for scoreboard operations.
Nice.
What did your dad do?
My dad was on the medical staff, so he was the X-ray
Oh.
tech.
Cool.
So like when I say I hung out, probably. Well, I don't know. Did you go to the games a lot?
I worked for them too for a while.
Okay.
So yes.
So I never worked for them, but I hung out down like underneath in the tunnel and
The dugout
and
and the clubhouse.
Yeah, but there was a point where I wasn't allowed to go into the clubhouse at all because I was female.
Sure.
So I would have to stay outside of the door, or I just go hang out with like the police officers because I made friends with a couple of them.
Sure.
But yeah, so like sometimes I go to the dugout, not a whole lot if I did, like my dad was with me, but if I ever went into the clubhouse, it was just the X-ray room and the training room. That was
Okay.
it. So, but yeah, so my dad worked for the Mariners, so I grew up around, so I got to meet Ken Griffey Jr. I got
Very
to
cool.
meet like a lot of the players, which was really fun. So we went to Cooperstown, which is Cooperstown, New York, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is.
Mm-hmm.
So we went for his induction, for Ken Griffey Jr.'s
Oh,
induction 2
into
years
the
ago.
Hall of Fame. Okay.
Yes, that was
Cool.
so fun.
Was he there?
Who? Ken Griffey junior
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
It was all about him. His dad.
That makes a lot of
I
sense.
mean, he was the one getting inducted.
Okay, that's
so,
fair.
and his dad was there too. Senior was there.
Aw,
If
that's
you
sweet.
wanted to, you could meet him and pay like $25 for him to sign something.
Oh.
I didn't do that,
Okay.
but
You were just like, sup, Griff, old pal.
no. Senior was like he was in a store, and you could like go in the store, and there's
That's
like
cool.
different times. I mean, it's really different times that like different players would be there, and you
Mhm.
depending on like their notoriety, you would have to pay like X amount of dollars to get them to sign something. And I was like, this is kind of dumb, but they also have to like still make money somehow
Yeah.
because mortgages,
Because mortgages.
lifestyles,
There you go.
Yeah.
Lifestyles.
lifestyle.
So
choices.
where in New York is Cooperstown?
It's upstate New York, so it's like the closest big city is Syracuse ish. Like if you wanted to fly and like
Okay.
you go fly into Syracuse and drive like about 2-ish hours.
Wow.
So-
Okay. And
Ish.
why is that where the Baseball Hall of Fame is?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's just the spot
I
that
probably it's
chose.
I mean it's gorgeous there. Like about a block away from like Main Street, Cooperstown, there's a gorgeous lake. So like it's really pretty out there. It's also Amish country too.
Oh, cool.
It was really fun to see horse and buggies though. It was like really cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I freaked out.
So what is the Hall of Fame like? Like,
Famous?
does it look like?
It's
Does it look like a museum or like what is it?
Kind of. So it's a big brick building, and it
Like
almost.
brick, as in like it looks really cool on the outside brick, or just like, nah, it's a brick building.
Yeah, no, it kind of looks really cool on the
Okay.
outside. It looks more like colonial style, like brick colonial style kind
I
of thing.
don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah,
Maybe someone who's listening
In
does.
my mind,
Maybe.
that means white things as well. And
Yeah.
columns.
Yeah, no columns, but it's
Okay.
like brick, and then it's like kind
I
of
go
like white. I don't know.
White
it's-
trim maybe on a
yeah,
roof
kind
is
of.
what I'm
I don't
picturing.
know. Here,
I'm looking
I'll
up pictures
yeah.
right now.
Here, I can pull. Well,
Nope. This is an audio medium.
I know, that's
so
true, right?
Keep going.
No, it's really cool. So there's like a staircase.
Oh
Yeah, see, like, it looks
like
really-
a school. Looks
I
like
don't
an
know,
old
to me-
fancy school.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like to me it
kinda
looks really
does,
cool. I was gonna
yeah.
say like it looks kind of like a college campus.
Yeah.
You know, like
Which is a school.
yeah, same thing. Yeah, exactly, totally. I'm so smart. It's really cool. So you walk in the steps and you go in through the doors, and that is where, you know, so you have like your gift shop on the right hand side, and then you pay. But it's really cool because straight up ahead there's this big glass window because it's glass, and right in front of you is the Hall of Plaques. So that's where anybody who's been inducted into the Hall of Fame, you have a plaque with like your face on it, and it gives like a little bio.
Ryan's
I'm
making a
Sorry,
face.
I just
I know.
no. You said Hall of Plaques, and then you're working at a dentist's office. So that's where my brain went. I'm so sorry.
Not
These are the teeth of the baseball players.
Not those kind of plaques.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So it's really cool to see that and just to be able to see like all of the year, because so like straight up ahead of you is the first class with like Babe Ruth and all them, and then they kind of go in chronological order, but now they're running out of room.
So they're just like sticking them in where they
Yeah,
have
it's kinda
space.
I'm like, I don't know, there's
Ugh.
space in
Yeah,
the parking
it's
lot.
really weird because
That-
like so you have like the
that's
like
not okay
so
with
you have
me.
like the first class, and then like Griffey is like right over here, like
Oh.
down away. So it's kind of weird. So I don't know what they're gonna do with like how they're gonna fix it when they add like more people, but so I don't know.
So is it just plaques? Or are there like
No.
photos or information?
Yeah, so there's more.
Okay.
Yeah. Girl, just slow your roll. She's like, is it just plaques?
Looks like the plaques have like
Yeah, it's
impressions
really-
of the people's
Yeah,
faces.
it does.
That's
It's-
their
busts.
souls.
Yeah, their bus. It's really
That's their
cool.
what?
That's their souls.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's their souls.
Yeah.
They're made out of bronze.
I took a couple of pictures of some of them. Of the plaques. Of the
I
plaques.
thought you were going to say I took a couple plaques. I was like, Jamie, no.
Oh,
No, you
boy.
don't want to do that on a Hall of Fame weekend because that's their busiest weekend, if you can imagine.
So you would want to do it on a different weekend.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I was thinking you'd want to do it on the busy weekend because no one would
No.
notice.
I know, right?
Heist.
No. And then they have, so they do like, so they tell you to go start in the second floor. And when you first walk in, they have locker of all of the Major League Baseball teams. So you kind of go through and you see all of that. So like they have like a locker that like a display,
a singular
display,
locker.
Uh-huh.
of like the different baseball teams in Major League.
Sorry.
Like-
So there's one for each team?
Yes.
And they're
yes.
just like right next to each other?
Yes.
And when you say locker, are we talking like school hallway locker or
Like
like
a
the
metal?
things that you see that are in like the clubhouses?
Yes. So,
Whereas
like,
like
the
this big
lockers
like
for, like-
open like cubby
Yes,
area where they
yes.
can like hang their stuff and there's
Yes.
stuff below and stuff above.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there
And-
stuff in the lockers?
Yeah, so there's like
That's
memorabilia,
so
like
cute.
like history, like like history of the team and like things that were significant to that team, that kind of stuff, which
And
is
it's
really cool.
only teams that are currently in
Yes,
the Major
it's
League?
all current.
Okay.
Yes.
So
So-
older teams are not
No.
there. Okay.
No.
Okay, here's something I love about that. So
What?
one thing that like I'm not a sports fan.
No, you're not.
Okay. I have nothing against sports fans except for when they shame me for not being a sports fan.
Oh, I
which
don't
is why you're a great sports
Oh,
fan.
I
Jamie.
was like,
No, I'm serious.
am
Like,
I?
you've never given me a hard time
No.
for like not watching the Super Bowl or
It's
whatever. You know what I
okay.
mean? It's just like we like what we like.
Yeah.
But like something that is rough for me sometimes with sports fans is when they like truly just believe that their team is like
Superior to all others.
superior or like they are a better person as a fan than a fan of another team. And like I think there's a fun and games
Yeah,
aspect
yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Like go us. And then I think there's an element of like hate that also like comes up with that maybe they're just is a hateful person. that's
Well,
gonna
let me
hate
just
people
get this
anyway.
out here.
But I just want to say what I like about the locker thing is it's like all the teams,
Oh,
they're
like
all
inclusive?
baseball teams.
Yes.
And it's like all
Yes.
these people like baseball, and here's all the teams,
Yes.
and like they're all in one locker room, kind of. And I think
Yeah.
that's really sweet.
It's really cool.
It's a nice moment.
I will say, on record, I hate the Yankees.
As everyone except Yankees fans do.
But I will say one thing about that to note on that is what I really loved about being there in Cooperstown and that weekend in particular was there were so many baseball fans and so many people who had allegiance to their team and like hardcore fans of their team, right? And that weekend, like, it didn't matter. It was just people who love baseball who were hanging out and just wanted to meet other people who loved baseball. Like, I sat... So here's a good story of things that happened unexpectedly on a trip. My husband and his best friend and my father were also with me on this trip. We lost each other in the bar that was very crowded. And
When you say the bar, was it a particular bar or just a
was
bar
just
that
a
you were
bar
at?
that we just stumbled into.
Okay.
We're like, here, look, this is less crowded than the one across the street. Let's go.
Yeah.
Which is like an oxymoron because they were all just as equally crowded. Oxymoron. See, big words. So I lost my group, and I was like, first I was like, well, this sucks. And then I was like, yay, I lost my group. Let me go find another group. And so I'm just kind of like standing there with my beer in my hand, and these guys were like, hey, are you looking for somebody? I was like, yeah, I can't find like the group that I was with. They're like, it's okay, come drink with us. They had like 3 pitchers of beer and like snack, like food and stuff. Like, come chill with us. And I was like, so where you guys, strike out the conversation?
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're from New York. And I was like, oh, so who's your team? They're like, we like the Mets. And I was like, they're like, what about you? I go, I'm from Seattle. They're like, oh, so then we get to talking. Turns out my husband and the rest of the crew were right behind me. Didn't care though. But like we all kind of came over, but it was like that same thing. We didn't care about like what team we rooted for or our allegiance or whatever. We were just there hanging out, talking baseball, having a good time.
Now, what if they had said the Yankees?
I might have thrown my beer in their face.
Okay.
Maybe.
So when you say it doesn't matter
Ish.
to a point.
Ish.
Okay.
Yes, ish. But it was really
Gotcha.
fun. It was really fun. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So what else is in the museum?
What else is? I think some of the favorite things that I liked was they had a nod to Latinos in baseball. So they had their own wing, which was really cool. One thing that I thought was awesome was they had an Edgar Martinez jersey in there. Go Edgar, because I'm going back for his induction.
I was going to say he just got officially.
Yeah, I know. I cried.
Okay.
I was super excited. So yes, we are going back for Edgar's.
So why did Edgar have a jersey there if he wasn't in the Hall of Fame
so
yet?
Let me tell you this. It was the very last. It was his jersey from the very last game that he played in because he is one of the more respected designated hitters. He holds a lot of. I think it's the American League designated hitter award is named after him.
Right.
So that's kind of big. He also is like, he holds a lot. And for his time being a DH, he's arguably one of the best.
Oh yeah.
From his generation.
Yeah.
So
for
they
sure.
wanted to honor his career in Major League Baseball and what he did for that position.
Even though he wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
Even though he wasn't in the Fame. So there are people that have memorabilia in the Hall of Fame that aren't necessarily an inductee. Does that make sense? So there's people still in there, which is really cool. They also had a replica of Babe Ruth's locker from when he was with the Yankees. So like the same concept, open cubby thing. They had a whole section on Babe Ruth, which was really cool. Obviously, they had the league of their own, so like the women's baseball team, and it was a mix of like what they had in real life to costumes from the movie.
Okay.
Which don't get me wrong, like I love that movie and I quote that movie
It's very funny.
I quote that movie all the time.
Have you seen it, Cheryl?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay.
We did it for Old Maids actually at one point.
Oh,
Yes, they did actually.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. But I wanted to see more of the history of the women. You know what I mean? For somebody who really loves baseball and what these women did at that time period, during that time, I wanted to see more of that. So that was kind of a disappointment.
Now, do you think that it wasn't they didn't have that stuff because nobody kept that stuff,
Possibly.
or because they just didn't do as good of a job and really should
I
kind
mean,
of improve that to have more of that information.
I mean,
and
it
stuff.
could. I mean, it could be that they didn't have a lot of it too.
Yeah.
You know, and probably to a lot of these women, probably didn't want to let go of some of the things that they had because it's to them, it's personal.
Right.
You know, and that's
Right.
why do why would they want to let that go?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
That's true.
So, another cool thing that was really awesome to see is they had so it's 3 stories. So the hollow plaques on the first story, then the second is different things about baseball, different, you know, statistics and relics and just lots of different history of the game and that kind of thing. And then the third floor, there's like artwork, there's video, there's one that's really cool where you look at certain stadiums, like older stadiums, and look at how they were built. So like the old Yankee Stadium was there. There was a couple of other ones that I can't remember, but that's a really cool video to sit and watch. But in with the artwork that they have, which is like really cool. Like there's some really famous ones of like the one with the umpires. I don't know if you've seen that one. They're like in their ump gear. It's like 2 of them together.
The one picture with umpires.
No, it's a painting.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to describe. I'm terrible describing things.
Okay.
Like Ryan's all like looking it up
Yep.
right now.
In-house research here.
I know, right? Because I can't describe anything to save my life. Like I can see it in my head, but like I can't describe it very well.
And you said it's 2 of them? There's not 3 of them?
It could be 3.
Multiple.
Look, Ryan's
Is it
like,
this?
yeah.
Oh, Norman Rockwell. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So we're on the same page. Great description.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny because I had no idea what you were talking about and I don't recognize that painting, but Norman Rockwell came to mind as like, it's probably by him.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, he did those like classic American paintings and stuff
That's
like
true.
that. So,
That's true.
yeah. So what else was in the hall?
So what's really cool in that area where all those paintings, they have like, it's multimedia. So they have like the Who's on First, that sketch that's like playing.
Like the Hall of Fame.
I
That's
know.
really good.
It's such a good one. Like it was so funny because Abe literally sat there and watched it probably like 3 times. Just watching it over and over and over.
Well, then,
again.
of course, the question is which version is playing? Because there are multiple versions that
it was
they've
in
done.
black. It was in black and white.
I think they're all in black and white.
Oh,
But I don't know. I'm looking at Cheryl because Cheryl
Oh.
is much more of an expert. Because Cheryl, at one point in time, actually memorized the Who's on
I've
First.
performed Who's on First about 5 times.
I'm actually really proud of you. Actually, you know what? I never knew that you
didn't
actually,
know that?
No, I never knew that
Oh.
you knew that. So I'm
Yeah.
actually really proud of you.
I love Who's on First
I know,
a
it's
lot.
so
It
good.
like
It's
gets
really
stuck in
good.
my head
It's so
sometimes.
good.
Yeah.
When I'm there in July, I will like
Yes.
take a little recording and send it to
Yes,
you
please. That
for
would be
sure.
great.
But they also have this like big display case of World Series like stuff. So it's hard to describe because it starts like the World Series is not like when you win the World Series. Now you get like a ring, right? And
Right.
it's like a giant. You know, it can be pretty.
Like
giant.
a lot of sports.
Yeah, like a lot
do,
of sports do.
Okay.
But back in the day, you would get a little pin, and then it was like a little pendant, like very nondescript, like
So, like, did it just say World Series winner, or was it like
Yeah,
a logo,
like-
or
yeah, it was like it varied from team to team, so they
Sure.
kind of got to design it like how they wanted it.
okay?
But it was like like the first one's like literally this big. But
So,
I know.
like-
it's like the size of a penny.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Like,
smaller than a quarter.
Like super small. It's really nondescript.
Okay.
And then they get into like little then like class ranks as
Okay.
the years go on, and then it just kind of gets into the monstrosity that we know that it is today. The Marlins, when they won, have like the biggest World Series ring in that display case. Like it
Yeah.
is a monstrosity.
And
It
was
is
that
huge.
recent?
Recent-ish, yes. Not, I would say
So
like
it's gone down then? It's like the 5th Harry Potter book?
yeah, right. Well, it's funny because, like, you see, I mean, like, relatively, like, they're all pretty big. There's no way that any of those would look good on my tiny, dainty little fingers. But that one is probably, like, it would, yeah. I mean, it's
2 fingers.
Like a half a hand?
Maybe 3.
Like you're not really wearing that as a ring
There's
type of a ring.
no way that you would be able to wear that.
They're not like going to Costco wearing their World Series ring. or anything.
No, you could spot that in a satellite. From, like, you could see that from outer space.
And it's not even the type that you would like put on a chain and wear it around your neck because it would like give you neck problems.
So they won it in 2003 for any like Marlins fans out there.
Whoa,
I don't
there's some
know.
shade.
I know.
Judgment
Okay,
there.
not trying to be shady, but like I don't really watch like Marlins baseball, so I don't really I don't pay attention to them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they're not on
sure.
my radar.
Sure. Well,
I
they're
didn't
also
know they were a team.
well, they're in the National League,
Okay.
and
Here you go. So like,
That's a ring.
yeah,
It
that's
looks
a
like
ring.
a box.
I know. Like
It looks cool though.
It's. I was trying to look and
Can
see.
you just make a jewelry box out of that ring?
I know. What I was trying to do is I was trying to see if I took a picture of the display case, and I never did. So I guess that's something that.
Can you take pictures throughout the entire Hall of
Yes,
Fame?
you can take pictures. I even like did like a couple of live like stuff on Facebook and like
Yeah.
recorded. So like when I went through the lockers for all of the all the teams, I lived all of that.
Oh,
So,
cool.
like, I have like live footage of like going through.
Well,
all
it's
of
not
that.
live anymore, but
No, not live anymore. But yeah, so like
It
they
lived.
totally encourage you to take lived. They totally encourage you to take pictures, and that's awesome
cool.
too.
That's sweet.
I kind of was more focused on like taking pictures than really soaking it in,
Hmm.
which is why like I'm really excited to be going back this summer because my goal is like not live through it through my phone, but live through it through my own
Yeah.
eyes because it's more
Yeah.
personal that way. I mean, I still enjoyed it and I still took it in, but I also like ran through. I also ran through it so fast that I feel like I missed like certain things.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go back and really like soak it in too. And I'll have Scarlett. Scarlett will be with us this time, so it'll be it'll be fun.
Now, when they do the induction,
Yes.
I'm assuming it's for everybody who's being inducted for the year.
Yes.
So it's not just going to be Edgar.
No, so when we went for Griffey, it was 2 people in that class. So it
Okay.
was Griffey and Mike Piazza. So they
Oh,
each
okay.
get their time to have a speech, and there's a section that's dedicated to each of them. So this year it's Edgar and like 5 other people.
Okay.
I think I want to say Manny Ramirez is in. There's a Yankee that's getting in this year. Roy Halladay, he was a pitcher for I want to say the Phillies. He
Okay.
unfortunately passed away in an airplane accident.
Oh no!
Yeah, so he is getting, was it posthumously?
Posthumously.
Thank you.
Yes.
Can't say that word. He's getting inducted, so he's part of that class. So there's there's other people that'll be there. So
Okay.
Cooperstown is the town that it's in, is the Hall of Fame. But the next town over, don't ask me what it is because I can't remember to save my life. Brian's probably going to Google it right now.
Yep.
But the field is in the next town over. So it's actually
Wait. The field. What's the field?
the field that they do the induction ceremony at.
Oh, they don't do it actually at the Hall of Fame.
No.
Oh, interesting.
I was wondering
No,
space-wise.
They don't. So it's like this big, huge, grassy field that they build a stage on. They put a stage on there, and they have like the broadcasting booth and the.
Oh,
big
nope, that's a
flat
cemetery.
screen.
That's not it.
No, not a cemetery. I have pictures of like being like at the actual ceremony.
Okay.
So I will send them to you so you can post them.
Yes, that would be great.
Yes. So they have the VIP section, which we were not. So you have the VIP section where they have actual seats. And
Okay.
it's like they give you like little fans because you're literally out in the hot sun. There is no shade at all.
Oh wow.
There's no shade.
So
And
you're
it's
bring
in
like a parasail this time or something.
Yeah, it actually wasn't too bad when we were there. I actually wasn't
Okay.
super hot. I wasn't uncomfortable. It wasn't fun, but I wasn't like melting, dying. It was tolerable.
Is it different than? Sorry, I'm still stuck on
No, you're okay.
what this town. Is it different than the Doubleday Field?
Yes, the Doubleday Field is the baseball field that's there in.
It's in Cooperstown.
Yeah,
because you're
that's a
saying it's
baseball-
not Cooperstown.
That's a
where it's
baseball
in.
field.
Yeah. Oh, it's not a baseball field where they get
No.
inducted.
Field
It's a grass field.
Oh,
It's a
for
grass
a baseball Hall of Fame thing.
that's
induction.
random.
Yeah, that's the induction here. Oh,
Is it Milford
could
or
possibly
Middlefield
it could,
or Roseboom?
I know. I'm so
Hartwick?
I felt so bad because I'm like I should totally be looking these things up before me.
That's okay.
But I'm terrible.
Is it Glimmerglass State Park?
That's fake. That's a fake field
No.
right
It is
there.
not.
No, it's from Dr. Seuss books.
So
It's on Otsego Lake.
Also fake.
So that's like kind of So like it's like a legit open field.
Alrighty.
Which is crazy.
Is this something that you had to buy tickets to?
No. So the induction itself is free. So if you want to sit in the VIP section, that you have to pay for. But the rest of the field, you bring your camping chair, you put it down in a spot that you want to sit, and you can leave it overnight, and then you just come back the next day, and there's your seat. So that's what we did.
Wait, you don't even have to stay there overnight?
No.
You can just leave your stuff?
No. Yeah. So we didn't.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we didn't know that. So that's something that we didn't know that now we know for this time around.
Yeah.
So we went to the general store in Cooperstown. Super cute because it's like a typical like small town like general store. We bought the last 3 lawn chairs that they had because everybody else was buying them. And my husband and his best friend, who were on the trip, they were on the trip with us. They hiked to this field that it's at, put down the camp chairs, tied like just a jacket. They were like, "Oh, we're fine." One of them was like, "We're fine without our jacket." Tied the jacket and then left. And that's what people do. They just go and stake their spots, and then the next day,
it's like an honor system.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
And like the next day, you walk back and you go to your seats.
That's cool.
Which is really cool. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that again this year.
Oh, you're gonna be ready this time, aren't you?
Oh, girl, I'm gonna have my and also too. So like Griffey, his induction wasn't that long. It was like maybe a couple of hours because there's only 2 people. This is like 6 people, so this is gonna be a very long induction ceremony. So.
What else? What happens at this thing? Is this like a high school graduation?
They induct you.
They induct you.
What
does that mean? So there's speeches. So like they make a speech and thank people and talk about their careers and highlights and stories of like them growing up and how like they'll thank like their little league coach, or like people that were important in their lives growing up and that kind of stuff, or talk about.
Do they thank you?
No, none of them have thanked me. I was really upset by that.
Maybe Edgar will.
Maybe he might remember that little blonde girl in the locker room. Maybe.
Yep.
It was. I mean, and so like Mike Piazza played for the Mets, and he was with them after 9/11, like during that whole time period. So he talked about the impact being in New York when all of that was going on and how that impacted him and how that changed him and how he saw people just come together and really like love on each other. And then he talked about how, I mean, he hit a home run like the first game back that they played in New York, and how that game and the way that he played and that home run just really erupted everybody, and it really stuck with him.
Wow.
I mean, his speech, like if you look up on YouTube, like Mike Piazza's induction speech, like I was crying. Like everybody was, I mean, grown men were crying because his speech was very sweet. He thanked his family, he thanked his mom, he thanked like all these people. It was a very sweet, heartfelt speech. So they do that. They have people that'll come up there and like introduce them. They'll also introduce like the past classes, like people who were there, like who there. They try and get everybody from like the past inductees come, and they all sit up on the stage too.
Oh wow!
Like it's crazy. And what's also really cool too is they have a parade through downtown Cooperstown. It's so cute. No,
why is that funny?
So cute. I know, she's like laughing.
Here's the image I'm getting. Like grown men who are retired professional baseball players, or like Griffey, like on a little float.
No,
like
they're in a car. They're in a car. They're like a convertible.
I'm giving you my visual. Like, I've been to some small town parades where, like, if there's a float, it's going to be small. Actually, there's not even floats. But I want there to be a float, but, like, a very small town, like, homemade paper mache situation. And then, like, Griffey just, like, waving like a princess. That's what I want. And that's why I laughed.
I see. Cute. I like it. I like it. I could get
car makes a lot of sense.
They sit in a car, but it's really cool. Like, they have... they sit in the back of the car, and kind of like the
princess wave.
Yeah, like the princesses and stuff, and they have on there like who they are and what year and stuff. So it's really cool because you get to see like Cal Ripken Jr. and like all these like greats like Randy Johnson was there.
Oh, cool.
Because he's inducted, but he's not in as a Mariner. He's actually in as a
Diamondback, probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's really cool. So they have that. So it's like the whole thing is very baseball centric. Go
figure.
I know, right? Who would have known? But I mean, it's just, it's a fun place to be, especially if you love baseball. I think it like brings more nostalgic.
Yeah.
It's more nostalgic for it.
Sure.
For it.
Sure.
That's very cool because I think what I was picturing is more like when someone like puts their handprints in front of the Chinese theater in Hollywood.
Right.
And you're like, well, there they are. Good job, everybody. You know, like,
Yeah.
so it's cool knowing that it's like worth the trip with that specific timing in mind.
I mean, I think it is just because, I mean, yes, it's really crowded there. It's the most people that they see that whole year. But I think also too, just the setting of where it is beautiful. The camp, the property, the campus that the museum's on, like is manicured very nicely. And you get to like, I mean, you bump into people, like you bump into players or whoever. Like we're like, here I am, like I'm just walking down the street with my dad, and there's Rick Griffin, who was a trainer for the Mariners that my dad knew, and he's walking with Jay Buhner's wife. You know, or like I was walking down like another time because I mean it's only like 3 city blocks, so it's not that big. So you walk up and down the main drag like constantly. There was another time when I look over and there's Griffey's family, just like right next to me. Or my dad and I were walking down the sidewalk and there's Lou Piniella, and he actually remembered my dad and called out my dad.
Oh, cool!
Which was really fun. And my dad was like, "You remembered me?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I mean, you bump into like players, like my dad, or not my dad. Abe saw Jamie Moyer walking down the street, which I was so upset because he's another one of my favorite players. Because I mean, his name is amazing.
No bias there.
No, we spell it differently, but he's got a good name.
Okay.
So I mean, he saw Jamie Moyer, and he was trying to find me so that I could like go and find him.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe this year I will see Jamie.
How far out did you book your hotel?
We actually, you want to book it like as soon as possible because hotels around there book really fast.
Well, if it's a small town, there probably aren't even very many hotels.
No, there's not. We actually got lucky because one of our friends that we traveled with, he knows somebody who lives 30 minutes outside of Cooperstown. So we stayed at her house,
awesome.
which is what we're doing again this year. So we never had to book a hotel.
Wow.
Perfect.
But you want to jump on it like ASAP.
Well, and I would guess that there's probably people that go like every year.
Yeah,
and
there are
just,
like diehards that go every year. There
a system and
there are still like, so you see the sign like welcome to Cooperstown, like that sign, but you have to drive a couple miles before you get to like the main town. You go down a hill, and it's really pretty because it's very foresty, and you kind of see off in the forest, you see like different, like not creepy off in the forest, but like nice forest. I'm thinking like evil forest, like Snow White. But
no, okay.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was like not creepy. Yeah.
Not Snow White's
not
forest.
Snow White forest,
Okay.
but like happy forest where the dwarfs live ish forest.
Okay.
It's not helping at all.
Nope, but that's okay.
Cool.
It's all right.
But there are like motels there, and I'm sure there's some nicer ones, like bed and breakfast, and,
Or
like,
bread and
or
breakfast.
bread.
Whatever.
But yeah, but I'm sure there's like little cottages and like little boutique places. But we never really. I mean, I guess because we know somebody that lives so close that we didn't really have to. We didn't have to worry about it. So.
For sure.
Okay, so I need to hear about the actual like requirements. Like, how does one get into this Hall of Fame?
How does one get into this Hall of Fame?
How do you get inducted? Like, what's that process like? Why are they chosen?
For their statistics, for their time, I guess. Okay. So you have to get 70% of the voting. So you have to have 70% or more.
And who gets to vote?
The writers, the baseball writers, like this association. It's like this little club. It's like a boys' club. And they just sit and they vote. I know, it's crazy. It's like a little boys' club.
So, but it's not actually players.
I think it's a mix of
people
players
who
and
are
like,
in the profession of
I think it's probably like a mix of both.
What are these writers writing? Why are they called writers?
Sports stories, probably, for newspapers.
Yeah.
I
think it's just part of like the whole.
Wait, you really no? You're just like
I know
they write TV shows,
right? They do.
I was like, how are sports people spending their time writing? Because I'm so out of the
Mariana
sports
Rivera.
loop
That's what I was thinking of. Mariana Rivera.
Okay, but tell me how. Like, what are the requirements to get in the Hall of Fame?
Oh my gosh. I don't think there's necessarily requirements.
You don't have to be dead, apparently.
No, you don't have to be dead.
Okay.
I don't think there's necessarily like a whole lot of requirements. I think they just kind of look at, because baseball itself is a numbers game. It's a statistics game.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that, I'm sure that they just look at statistics and then look at like, I'm sure some of it too probably is what the contribution they did outside of baseball. I'm sure there's maybe like charity work or whatever. I'm sure they look into that. But
character, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, because nobody.
Is there like anything about like how long they haven't been playing baseball?
Yeah, so you have. So you have to be retired for 5 years, and then you're 10 years on the voting ballot, and then after 10 years, if you're not voted in, you fall off the ballot.
Okay.
And then
do you have to get nominated to get on the ballot? Or do they put everyone who's been retired for 5 years on the ballot?
I don't think they put everybody, but I think they just kind of like look at like top players of the time.
Eligible candidates.
Oh, there you go.
Candidates to be eligible must meet the following requirements.
See, I'm like,
a baseball player must have been active as a player in the major leagues at some time during a period beginning 15 years before and ending 5 years prior to election.
So they have to have been a ball player for at least 10 years then?
No.
Oh, no, it's that range of time.
Mm-hmm. B. So that was A. B.
Oh, okay.
Player must have played each of 10 Major League Championship seasons, some part of which must have been within the period described in the previous one.
Okay.
Player shall have ceased to be an active player in the major leagues at least 5 calendar years preceding the election, but may be otherwise connected with baseball. So that's what you were saying, right? In case of the death of an active player or a player who has been retired for less than 5 full years, a candidate who is otherwise eligible shall be eligible in the next regular election held at least 6 months after the date of death or after the end of the 5-year period, whichever occurs first.
Which is
why definitely sounds like rules now.
Yeah, which is why Roy Halladay is in, because he had not played baseball in 5 years.
Okay.
Or does that make sense? Like,
who's Roy Halladay?
The pitcher that passed away
in the plane accident. In the plane crash, right.
Yes.
And yes, it is you'll love this, it's the BBWAA, the BWA.
Yeah, see?
Which is the Baseball Writers Association of America.
Okay, so I forgot America. By the way, the grounds that the induction ceremony takes place in, it is called the Clark Sports Center, which is located near Susquehanna Avenue, just 1 mile south of the Hall of Fame.
Oh, just a mile away.
It felt like forever. That hike felt like forever.
Wait, you walked the mile?
We walked a little bit, and then we got on a bus, and then we...
Oh, yeah, it's not that far away.
It felt like it. So this is after the induction ceremony, walking back into Cooperstown. This was the sea of people.
Oh, so you were like one of the Israelites, like exiting out of Egypt.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was gnarly.
You didn't tell me that Moses was leading that
Sorry.
group, but you know.
Well, now you know.
I don't know.
Wow.
See, I don't pay attention to like the rules or like all that kind of stuff. I'm like, yay, somebody I know is in.
So you're going back this summer.
I am.
So what are you going to do differently on this trip, and what do you want to do the same on this trip? Like, plan of attack sounds like it's a little different.
Yeah, because I think we did this last time was like, this is our first time, let's just see how it goes. What's awesome is the friend that we're staying with her again, so we don't have to stay in a hotel, or we didn't have to find a hotel, so that's not as less expensive, I guess. She also still has the same lawn chairs from 2 years ago, so we're going to use those.
Perfect.
Nostalgia all over again. We'll probably hit the pavilion at the sports center where they do the induction ceremony. We'll probably hit that first before going to town, so we can probably get better seats, like a better seating area from where we sat last time. And then also we looked it up too, and you were allowed to bring coolers in. So we're going to bring coolers in of water this time. So when we went 2 summers ago, we had water bottles, and then they had water bottle refilling stations. where
that's
you
great.
could do that, which was nice, but the line was insane.
Super long, sure.
So we're going to pack with like that and food and snacks because they do sell food there. But once again, line was really long and it was also overpriced because it's
Of course.
an event.
Sure.
So, you know, there are little things that we're doing differently. But the other thing too is I think, you know, it's all, I mean, it's none of the stores are going to be different. It's all going to be selling the same memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
The Hall of Fame will be pretty much the same, except for this time they'll have Griffey's plaque mounted on the wall. Where when we were there, it wasn't there because they hadn't unveiled it yet. So after the induction ceremony, the plaques go back into the museum, but they're only there for a couple of hours, and then they take them off and they send them to the team that the player got inducted. So like Griffey's plaque came to Seattle and was at Safeco Field and displayed at Safeco for like a weekend or a week or however long. It's like they have a contract or an agreement with the team.
Gotcha.
And then it goes back to the museum and that's where it stays. So we tried, so dumb. We tried to go back to the museum right after the induction ceremony to go in and see it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was no way because it was even more crowded than we were there
Sure.
earlier. So I was like, forget this. So I'll go back and see it this time and actually see it in person. Then because I've never actually physically, I've seen pictures of it, but I've never actually physically seen it.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
But for the most part, everything's going to be, at least for me, it'll be the same.
That's awesome.
Minus I'll have a child with me.
So
Plus,
not
you
the same then.
Less drinking in the bars. No bars. So it won't be as
fun.
it won't
So
be as a
Scarlett
party.
will get to see it then.
Yeah, Scarlett
So
will get to go.
That'll
And
be fun.
and also too, like this last trip we went to Boston too, so we went to Fenway. We saw a game at Fenway, which was really cool. So we'll go this time we'll be in Philly, so we'll see a Phillies game. So my husband and I, we want to go see every Major League Baseball stadium.
Oh, okay.
That's a goal of ours. So we've checked off a couple, and so now we get to check off the Philly stadium, which I'm super excited.
Cool.
Will you go to a Yankee game at the Yankee Stadium?
Yes, I will go to a Yankees game just to say that I have been to Yankee Stadium. So that is something that Abe and I
Will
have
you wear Mariner gear? To
Absolutely
the
not. No.
Even I know that.
We actually did not wear any Mariners gear when we went to Fenway. Just to be safe. But we actually sat by some really cool people because the way I don't know Fenway super well. But I do know that it obviously it's a historical site. They can't do anything to it, which is really cool. So it's like that forever. But the way that's built, so if you hit the wall in a certain area, it's not a home run. It's like a single. So like
just because the dimensions, because it's so old, the dimensions are shorter.
Are different, so
interesting.
it changes. So depending on where they hit the ball in the park, it's different. So
Interesting.
they explained that to me, but I may or may not have had a couple of beers in me when he was explaining it, so I may or may not have remember.
Gotcha.
And it's
Okay.
when numbers and math come flying at me, I kind of get foggy because it doesn't make sense.
With or without the beer?
Yeah. Yes.
That's so cool. All right. Well, we have a couple questions for you, Jamie,
Uh-oh.
based on the title of our podcast, Take Me With You.
Okay.
If you could take us with you to just one thing on this trip, what would it be and why?
I would take you to the baseball game because Fenway being there was really cool. Being able to sing Sweet Caroline with everybody was awesome, and just I don't know.
Is that something that they do?
Yeah. So they do
That's
the seventh.
cute.
They do the seventh inning stretch.
Sure.
And then in the eighth inning, in between, while they're transitioning, they sing Sweet Caroline. So they play it, and the whole stadium.
So everybody just does.
Just start singing it, and it's a drunken karaoke with like all of your friends.
That sounds really fun.
It is. It's actually really fun. I mean, I would, of course, take you to the Hall of Fame, but I feel that's really cliche in some ways. Because I feel like you might appreciate it, but you also have gone to baseball games with me, and we have fun. So I think...
Oh, I love going to baseball games.
So I think,
Yeah. It's a party.
It totally is. So I think going... It is. It is a party.
People are there. I'm happy.
Yeah. So I think I'd probably take you to Fenway. To a game, because that's where you can, sit and hang out. And,
What's good food at Fenway? Like at a Mariners game, I'm getting those garlic fries.
Right? So that's crazy. So we're so spoiled at Safeco Field because
really?
we have really good food. So that was one thing that was consistent when I was talking to other baseball fans.
Yeah.
They all who have been to Safeco, they were like, the food there is so good.
Yeah.
You guys are so spoiled. So, I mean,
I'm not hawing that it's good. It's that it's not good at other places.
I'm sure it's good, but like,
We like getting a hot dog or whatever.
Yeah, like hello, you get sushi.
Yeah.
And you can get crepes at our
There's crepes there now?
There's crepes now.
It's been a long time since I've been there.
You can get grasshoppers there too, by the way. Or no, crickets. It's a crickets.
Oh, fun.
Grasshoppers.
Yeah. The ones you eat, yeah.
Okay.
I ate one. I've had them before.
They're good.
I wouldn't do it again.
I'll eat them. Yeah, they're a really good source of protein.
They are.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I just stick to when I go to different when I go to the new ballparks, I just stick with, a Coke and a hot dog. I keep it real simple, or a beer and a hot dog, depending on like how I'm feeling.
Sure.
If I want to be adventurous.
Cool.
That's cool. All right. And normally this question has not been already addressed when we're asking it. What's your next trip? But we already. What's your next trip?
So before we go to
See, you
I
made an
have-
assumption there, Cheryl.
I know.
Oh,
So
shouldn't
we
do that.
We actually have 2 trips planned this summer.
Okay.
So the first one is we're going to LA for a long weekend in June, and then July is when we'll be going back to the East Coast.
Great.
So
Good.
I
Very
have a
fun.
couple of them.
And do you have any travel questions for us?
Out of all the places you've been, where's your least favorite place to go?
Ooh, I don't think we've got.
I don't think we've had least
I thought you were gonna
favorites.
say favorite, and I was like, oh, we've
know,
gotten that
I
question
know.
a lot of times.
No, I want to say your least favorite.
Least favorite.
Or
place
when
to
you're
go.
like, okay, it's one and done.
Oh, okay. Okay, so either least favorite or like least likely to return.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whichever is like.
Probably the second half is better for me because I don't like not liking things. So. Where am I less excited to return to? Can I say it that
Yeah,
way?
yeah.
Yeah.
I stumped him, you guys.
Well, anytime it's you like rank or favorite
Yeah.
favorite of any kind, whether it's least favorite, most favorite, those are just
Yeah.
hard.
But I like thinking about it like,
Yeah.
what am I not going to prioritize going
Yeah.
back to?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been to Texas twice. Galveston and Houston. They're both great experiences.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Austin. I probably won't choose to go back to Galveston or Houston because I kind of feel like I did that. And you know what I mean? And so it's like, I don't think unless it's like there's someone I know that's there. If there's like a specific reason. Other than that, I think out of all the other places, even if we just think in the United States, like I'm not going to like pick those ones again because of all the other cities I want to visit. So
Yeah.
Ryan?
So this is hard because I'm thinking of like several places that I wouldn't want to go back to. And which one would be like the most, I'm not sure. So like the first place that came to my mind actually was Zurich in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Because I had a really bad experience. Not bad, like it wasn't a bad city, but like I had been traveling by myself, which is fine most of the time. But like when I was there, it was not raining like pouring, but it was like raining a little bit, and they were in the middle of like Zurich Days, which was this big, huge festival. So there was like tons of people, and I was by myself. And unlike, I don't remember why this came up recently, but why was it maybe on a
you
recent
talking to me?
episode of ours, Cheryl?
Well, you shared in
think
episode
that-
1 about this.
Yeah, but like I think there may have been one of our recent episodes, Cheryl, that you were sharing about like liking to be in a place even if you're by yourself and there's lots of people around.
Yeah.
Just because there's people around. Whereas like for me, it has the opposite effect. If I'm by myself and there's lots of people around, that actually makes me feel more lonely than being all by myself. Because then it emphasizes the fact that I am alone and all of these other people are not.
Although I think normally I'm like that, where like I would love to like be in a coffee shop alone and just feel like, oh, this is fun people.
Yeah.
But then in my Spain episode, I talked about how I went to this
That's right.
I went to a
piano
jazz
thing or
concert
jazz. That's
on a
what it was,
rooftop.
right? Yeah.
Cool.
It was so cool, but I was by myself, and that felt the same. Where it highlighted like I'm not here having fun on a rooftop in Spain with my friends listening to music. I'm like watching people enjoy time with their friends.
Yeah.
And also there was like just an annoying woman next to me, and like all of it. And I think like it was like towards like several days of traveling alone.
Yep.
And all of that just kind of made it like I just don't want to be here. And I think the fact that it was so cool made me like kind of not want to be there even more because I was like feeling very alone in that moment. Yeah.
So so Zurich was the first place that came to my mind, but then I was like, okay, but there's not really anything wrong with Zurich, and if there were other people, I might want to go back there. And the next thing that came to my mind was Wyoming.
Oh.
Because I'm allergic to the entire state of Wyoming.
Wow.
I mean, I haven't been to the entire state, but the entire time that I was in Wyoming, I had some of the worst allergies that I've had.
Oh, no.
So that was not a fun experience.
No, not
so
at all.
I'm not really excited to go back to Wyoming.
Like, that's not on my list.
Not so much. I don't know. Those are the two places that came to my mind relatively quickly.
That was a good question.
Yeah.
I like it.
I know.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. So time for our last segment called Wish You Were Here. So think of it kind of like a quick little snapshot or postcard that you can see was like, oh, this was this really cool thing. I wish you were here, that you're sending to other people. So this is from our travels. Each of the three of us are going to do this.
You just described that so much better than Cheryl tried to last night on the phone. To me, I was really confused.
Okay. So from anywhere that we've traveled in the past, each of the three of us is just going to share just an attraction or a place that we've been, a moment that we think would be really cool that we can just share to our listeners. It's just one more quick little thing. So, Jamie, do you have one in mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to explain it to her.
She tried it so hard, and I was so confused.
I said like an attraction or like a singular thing, like a museum or a
but
restaurant.
I like the postcard because like that helps me a lot.
Good.
So when I thought of that, I thought about St. Paul de Vence, which is a tiny town in the south of France. And
St. Paul what?
St. Paul de Vence.
De Vence, okay.
De Vence. My aunt and uncle actually have a house over there. So
that must be difficult.
It's so hard for them. I love them though; they're the best. So I got to sit on their like veranda. I don't even know what you call it, like yard, and like look into this gorgeous like medieval town with like the church on the top, and it still has the medieval wall and like the Med in the background. It's very relaxing when you have like your Pinot Grigio.
So your wish you were here is your aunt and uncle's veranda.
Looking into St. Paul de Vence. Or maybe probably just being in that town, because that town's really cool too. It's super cool. It's very like cobblestone, just like typical old town, European.
I love it.
It's so cool.
That's so fun.
Brad and Angelina lived over there too.
Brangelina.
Wow.
Yeah, back in the day.
Okay.
Just saying.
Wow.
Cool.
I know.
That's so fun.
Celebrities hang out there.
Cheryl?
Go.
Well, I'm going to keep my local today. We are 3 Seattleites sitting here. So
yes, we are.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a
Space Needle.
unknown at a known place, maybe. So
Okay.
we all know Pike Place Market.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty
And that's
iconic.
one of the things, if you talk to someone, you say, oh, you visited Seattle, what did you see? And they say Pike's Place Market. And then they say the place with the fish.
Yep.
Or the pig.
Yep, there's the
there
pig
is a
there now.
pig,
That's
yeah.
true. Right by the fish.
Yep.
Yeah. And so they're like,
Yep.
I don't know, the market, I think I went there. That's like where people go.
Yeah.
And like, I would say, yeah, like definitely checking it out is fun. But one of my favorite places at that market is Storybook Coffee House.
Okay.
Oh.
And what I love, I just love coffee shops a lot.
Where is it in the market?
So it's on the second story, with a big old window, so you can look down on the street. So what I love,
cool.
I do love people. I also love my own little quiet corner where I get to like do the people watching.
Yes.
And just like be there with like one person would be my favorite.
We should
and
go.
then just So
Are we like take me there?
So it's if you are facing the large sign where the throwing fish and the pig is right underneath the big sign.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of a corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you were kitty corner from that, so just on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Okay, so the actual like corner of the block, because the street goes like
yes.
this.
Yeah. So that corner of the block, it's kind of like just around the corner. You look for signs for Storybook Coffee, and you go up a staircase that's like inside, and then you go in this coffee shop, and then there's a big window. You can look down on the street.
That's so cool.
It's so cozy. They hand out free chocolate cake once an hour.
Hell yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Can I say HE double hockey sticks on this podcast? 'Cause I just said it.
I think it's once an hour or once every couple hours. I had heard about this.
Did you experience it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like, how big is this piece of chocolate
like
cake?
a slice of cake.
like
For free.
Like, here is a warm slice
And it's good.
of delicious chocolate cake.
I think the three of us are all gonna have to go together and try out this chocolate
Yeah.
cake.
So I had heard about this, and I was like, okay, cool. And so I went there with a friend. We order our coffee, we sit down, and then we hear, do you want a slice of cake? And it was like the perfect timing. I was like, yes, very much so.
Yes.
And then you eat your warm cake and drink your coffee in a really, it's and kind of big for that space. A lot of those shops are so tiny. They're
Sure.
pretty like sizable coffee shop.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
And
a great way to
how
experience
crowded
Pike
was
Place.
it when you were
Not
there?
very crowded. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like people don't really know where it is because, like, it's.
Well,
kind
yeah,
of-
the upstairs
you
is
guys
hard to
did it.
get.
I know,
So, like,
no.
yeah,
So it's probably one of those like hidden gems of Seattle that
Yeah.
like only
Yeah.
Seattleites would know.
Well, and like I mean, the gum wall
I
used
know,
to
right?
be that,
Yeah.
and now everyone knows the gum wall. You know what I mean? And so,
Well, and it's
but,
probably
like,
hard too, just because Starbucks, the original Starbucks,
Yes.
is on that same,
Yes.
just a
Yes.
little bit
If
farther
if
down,
you
right?
Get coffee in Pike Place, you're gonna
You
go
get
to
the
the
Starbucks.
Yeah,
Starbucks.
exactly.
Which, and I mean, I would say, like, the reason I've gone there, that Starbucks one time, the reason I went there is because I collect Starbucks City mugs, and that location has their own
Right.
mug
Oh.
with the OG. Like
Yep.
that. So that's
Yeah.
a
I
reason,
knew
that's a
that.
reason
Yeah,
to
they
go there
do.
for me, is to get, like,
That
if you're
mug.
collecting the mugs.
See, and I've
you know?
only
Yeah.
been there with like out of towners who want to go the original, and so
Sure.
like I stand in line with them to a certain point, and then I get out of the line because I also, weird fact, don't do crowds in tight spaces. So being inside that shop freaks me out. I'm
Yeah.
like, I have to get out
Yeah,
of here.
I'm not super into the, like, cramped
No,
crowd. I like
no.
people, though. I like a place that's kind of like hopping and everything.
Yeah.
But really, I just love the people watching, too. You know
People
what I
watching
mean?
Yeah.
is
So,
so much fun.
yeah.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, Storybook Coffee.
Cool.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have to do a trip there.
Yeah.
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 I want that.
Ryan.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm going to go across the pond
Okay.
to a place that I've done quite a few of these Wish You Were Here's in before, and I will probably do more. So we're going to go back to Slovenia.
All right.
One of the places that I've mentioned before is the town of Bled. And a place that is near Bled is called Vintgar, Vintgar, and it's a hike, may be a little bit more extreme term because it's not really a hike, but it's a walk, I guess, through this gorge that a river has cut through, and it, like, seriously, it is so
What?
gorgeous. The
Right,
river's
right.
still there, and it's this really deep, like, greenish but really clear colored water, which is
Oh.
beautiful in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you're down, not like on the water level, but very close to the water. So you've got the rocks, and there's all sorts of just, like, if you're a science guy like me, like, there's lots of, like, striations. You can see, like, layers, and there's uplift where things are, like, turned funky.
Vinsgard Gorge.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at pictures.
Yeah,
right now.
do it. Yeah, and I've got... Yeah.
OMG.
Whoa.
That's really
Yeah.
pretty.
Oh
That's
yeah,
not
and
what I
so
was picturing.
so it's like, and so
No.
you're walking on these, like, wood kind of, like, plank, like,
Yeah.
elevated path
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah, and it is seriously as beautiful as those pictures
Those
that you're
pictures
seeing.
look fake. You
Yeah,
know what I
no,
mean? Like,
I
the
mean, and
color
I've
of the
got-
water looks so
And
fake.
if I can do this without, so, like, here are my pictures that I took when I was there. I mean, like, seriously,
goodness
it's, and I'll
gracious.
I'll post some of these on our Instagram.
That
but, like,
is
it
so
is
pretty.
it is gorgeous.
It's like Yellowstone colors of water.
Sure.
You know what,
I haven't been to Yellowstone.
Okay,
so.
but like like your like water
Oh my
isn't
God, look at
normally
this.
that color.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's just
So
beautiful, and it's
Or like
warm.
Jurassic Park looking.
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah,
it
it definitely does.
does.
And you kind of like do hike up a little bit, and you get like to a waterfall, and you can look down over the waterfall and hike down to the waterfall. Like
Wow.
like
it's
this waterfall?
um
Or are there like several?
no,
on
there's like a
this?
huge waterfall.
There's a huge one?
Yeah.
Wow.
That I think I have a picture of here somewhere.
Yeah, you had one right there.
Like this?
That's the same
Like-
one.
Is that?
So that's one, but there's like whoops.
He's like this.
Oh, look at that bridge.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that bridge in another picture that I was
Yeah.
looking at.
So anyway, it's just
Wow.
it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I'm usually there in the summer, and it's usually quite warm. So to
Yeah.
like go there, and you're by the water, and you're kind of shaded a little bit because you're in this
Oh, nice.
canyon gorge.
So if you're not like an outdoor enthusiast and you
Yep.
don't hike, would you consider that to be a tough hike, or would
No, not at all. Because
like super
Cheryl,
easy?
Cheryl, no, when one of our earlier episodes of the podcast, we talked about a hike that Cheryl and I went on
Yeah.
this last summer, and I enjoy being outdoors as long as I'm not uncomfortable.
makes sense?
So that's not really a true outdoors person.
Yeah.
But I really do like seeing things that are beautiful outdoors.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for water.
Okay.
Outdoors, not being in the water, but like beautiful water things.
Right,
so
right.
like lakes, mountains, snow, like that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. Waterfalls, I love waterfalls.
Waterfalls are
I
so
love
cool.
I will put forth effort and be a little bit more uncomfortable if there's a cool waterfall at the end.
Okay, makes
Right?
sense.
And so
But this is like an easy, like all.
it's not
ages,
even like
all
that's why I said
activity level.
yeah, it's like not even it's hike is
Generous.
yeah, it's not it's more of a
Okay.
walk
Okay.
than a hike. Like there is some like uphill, but for the most part you're down on the river level and
That's
it's
really
that
cool.
like, the wood plank
Yeah, yeah.
elevated stuff. It's
That's
not
so
really
cool.
much of a hike.
So when are you gonna
So-
take me?
Well, I wish you were here.
All right.
So, yeah.
That's
so there you go.
that's super cool. I like that.
Oh, so fun. All right, we'll add him to the list. Well, thanks so much for being on our podcast.
Yes,
for having
thank
you guys. This
so
was
much,
so much
Jamie.
fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I loved it.
Good. And thank you everyone for listening. We would love for you to follow us on all of the socials. We'll be posting pictures. Jamie's going to share some pictures with us.
Yeah.
We'll share some pictures from our Wish You Were Here's.
Yep.
Follow us at Timwy Podcast. That's TMWY Podcast on all of the socials to be able to see all of those really cool pictures.
Woo!
Yepers. You can also email us at timwepodcast@gmail.com. Send us your travel thoughts, packing
Experience.
lists,
Ooh.
experiences.
Mhm.
What else should they send us? I don't know. Just like
I'd love to hear from people what they would like future episodes to be. Like, do you
Yeah.
love what we're doing and just having
Oh,
cool
yeah.
guests like Jamie?
Yeah.
Do you want to hear,
Do you hear
more
more of me?
experiences?
do you want to hear more like sports travel? 'Cause
No.
I know people who do sports travel.
This was a good sports travel, but
This was a good sports travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
So
was.
tell us your things.
yeah, you can even give us a call and tell us like with your voice instead of just with your typing in your
Are you
keyboard.
gonna give away your digits?
Yeah.
You ready?
You ready for the digits?
Oh
Are you
my
ready?
gosh.
Are you ready? 406 763 8699. Or if you have trouble remembering it as digits, you could do 406 pod Timwy. It's the same numbers. Yep.
Mind blown.
Right? So we would love it if you would rate and review us and subscribe to the podcast so that every week you can make sure you do not miss our wonderful guests' stories.
As always, thank you so much to Beth Morel for our awesome artwork. We love it. You
Yes,
can
we
check
do.
out more of our artwork at Beth Is Something.
Wonderful. So that's going to do it. Thank you again, Jamie, for being a part of this and sharing your story with us. And until next time, take me with you.
Take me with you.